Pause for a moment, not because you need rest, but because something rare is happening right now. Out of endless noise, infinite distractions, and countless timelines competing for your awareness, you did not arrive here by accident. You were not pulled by curiosity alone. You were not guided by coincidence. You are here because a deeper part of you recognized a signal before your mind had time to question it. There are moments when reality opens briefly. Not for everyone. Only for those whose internal state matches a very specific frequency, the frequency of readiness. This is one of those moments. What you are about to enter was never designed for the masses. It was never meant to be loud, popular, or obvious. Its power comes precisely from its discretion. For centuries, this understanding moved quietly through closed rooms, private decisions, inner circles where outcomes were shaped long before the world could see them unfold. Not as faith, not as hope, but as position. This is not motivational content. This is not entertainment. This is not a promise being made to you. This is an activation you step into. If you feel a subtle pressure in your chest, a tightening of attention, or a sensation of recognition that has no clear explanation, that is not emotion, that is coherence. Something in you already knows that this moment matters. You are not here to learn something new. You are here to remember something ancient, and remembrance changes posture. This space does not respond to effort. It does not reward struggle. It reacts only to decision. The kind of decision that is not spoken loudly, but taken internally, where hesitation collapses and presence becomes total. That is why engagement here is not symbolic. Your like is not a gesture of approval. It is a physical acknowledgement that you are present and receptive. Your subscription is not routine. It is continuity. A declaration that what begins here will not be interrupted halfway by doubt or distraction. And your comment is not interaction. It is a signature placed into the field, marking this moment as deliberate rather than accidental. Do not rush this threshold. Authority, when entered unconsciously, fractures. Authority, when entered with awareness, stabilizes reality around it. Stay with me, because from this point forward, we are no longer speaking to the part of you that waits for permission. We are addressing the part that understands sovereignty, the part that does not ask whether something is possible, but quietly assumes position and allows the world to reorganize itself accordingly. Once this recognition happens, it cannot be reversed, and you already feel it. Everything you were taught about money followed a script, not because it was true, but because it was repeatable. From the earliest moments, the same pattern was reinforced. Effort first, reward later, sacrifice now, relief someday, work harder, wait longer, accept delay as virtue. Over time, this narrative became invisible. It stopped sounding like an external rule and started feeling like common sense. That is how conditioning works. But reality does not respond to narratives. It responds to structure, and the structure you were given was never designed for command. It was designed for endurance. Endurance keeps systems running. Command reorganizes them. This is where the rational mind begins to lose footing, because logic was built to function inside a system, not to step outside of it. Logic asks how long something will take. Logic asks what is required. Logic asks whether something is realistic. But the universe does not calculate merit. It mirrors coherence. When you operate from effort, the field reflects effort. When you operate from waiting, it reflects delay, not as punishment, but as accuracy. The field simply agrees with the position you are transmitting. This is the fracture point, because the moment you see that cause and effect are not chained by time, but by identity, the old model collapses. You begin to notice that struggle has never been the activating force. It was the posture behind it. Two people can take the same action. One experiences resistance, the other experiences acceleration. The difference is not the action. It is the position from which it is taken. You were taught to see money as something external, something that must be chased, convinced, earned, or waited for. That belief keeps you oriented as a receiver in waiting, always one step removed from ownership. But ownership is not something you arrive at later. It is something you assume first. This is why rational logic resists this shift, because logic demands proof before position. Yet the field requires position before proof. When you reverse the order, the system recalibrates. This is not belief, it is mechanics. When you stop broadcasting need, the echo of lack dissolves. When you stop identifying with delay, time loosens its grip. When you stop seeing yourself as subject to circumstance, circumstance loses its organizing power over you. The rational mind will try to intervene here. It will ask for steps, guarantees, timelines. That is its role. But tonight, logic does not lead. It follows. You are not abandoning intelligence. You are moving to a deeper layer of it. A layer where reality responds not to effort, but to clarity. Not to struggle, but to alignment. Not to asking, but to assuming. And once this is seen, it cannot be unseen. The old story begins to feel artificial. The waiting feels unnecessary. The tension you carried for years starts to release, not because money has arrived yet, but because the position that once kept it distant has dissolved. This is the exact moment where the fracture completes. From here forward, logic no longer dictates what is possible. It reorganizes itself around what has already been decided internally. Stay here. The deeper structures are beginning to shift. There is an order beneath appearances, a silent intelligence that moves before thought, before language, before explanation. It does not announce itself. It does not persuade. It does not require belief. It simply responds to alignment and withdraws from confusion. This intelligence has always been present. It governs the movement of systems, the convergence of events, the redistribution of resources. It does not choose favorites. It recognizes position. Those who learned to operate from this level never needed to explain themselves. They did not justify outcomes. They did not argue with circumstance. They spoke rarely, acted precisely, and allowed the field to rearrange itself around their clarity. This is what authority looks like when it is real, not loud, not emotional, not forceful. Invisible authority does not seek validation. It is felt as inevitability. When it is present, doors open without explanation. Resistance dissolves without confrontation. What once seemed delayed begins to move as if it had always been waiting for a signal to proceed. That signal is not desire. It is coherence. Most people were trained to project intention outward while remaining fragmented inward. They want results while identifying as someone who lacks them. They speak of abundance while standing in the posture of need. The field does not judge this contradiction, it reflects it. Invisible authority removes contradiction. When inner position and outer signal match, reality stabilizes around that frequency. There is no effort involved, no pushing, no convincing. The shift happens quietly, and its effects appear later, often without a visible cause. This is why those who understand this layer never argue with logic. Logic belongs to surface reality. Authority belongs to structure. You are not required to believe anything here. Belief is unstable. Authority is not built on belief. It is built on recognition, a remembering that bypasses thought and settles directly into posture. Notice how certainty feels different from excitement. Excitement seeks confirmation. Certainty does not. As this recognition settles, something changes subtly but decisively. You stop orienting yourself toward outcomes and begin orienting outcomes toward yourself. You are no longer trying to reach a future. You are allowing the present to reorganize. This is the position from which decrees work, not because they are spoken, but because they are aligned. Words become secondary. Presence becomes primary. Invisible authority does not rush. It does not threaten. It does not doubt. It occupies space so completely that the field adjusts to accommodate it. This is why silence often precedes movement. This is why those who command the most rarely appear to be doing anything at all. Stay with this. You are not acquiring power. You are shedding interference. And as interference falls away, what remains is enough. Imagine standing inside a structure you once believed was permanent. Walls labeled limitation, floors reinforced with old decisions, ceilings built from expectations you never consciously chose. For a long time, this structure felt solid, unquestionable. It defined what felt possible and what felt forbidden. You learned how to move inside it carefully, avoiding collapse, managing space, adapting posture. But structures built from perception are not permanent. They endure only as long as they are believed. Now, something begins to change, not violently, not dramatically, quietly. You start to notice subtle fractures, not in the world, but in the way you relate to it. The weight you carried for years begins to lift, not because circumstances have changed yet, but because the meaning you assigned to them is dissolving. Energy does not argue, it replaces. As a higher coherence enters the field, lower patterns lose their grip automatically. What once felt heavy becomes irrelevant. What once felt urgent becomes distant. The emotional charge drains away, leaving clarity behind. Picture stagnant water finally moving. Resources were never absent. They were immobilized, frozen in patterns created by old identities. As those identities loosen, flow resumes naturally. Channels reopen. Pathways realign. What was locked begins to circulate again. This is not creation, it is redistribution. You may feel waves of relief mixed with unfamiliar calm. That calm is not emptiness, it is space, space where tension used to live, space where effort once dominated. Notice how your body responds when pressure dissolves. Shoulders soften, breath deepens, time stretches. This is what happens when the internal environment changes faster than the external one. Reality always lags slightly behind identity, but it always catches up. Visualize doors that no longer require force. They open because resistance is gone. Visualize paths that were once blocked. They clear because nothing is holding them in place. Nothing needs to be chased. Nothing needs to be convinced. As the emotional landscape shifts, the world reorganizes quietly. Events align without announcement. Opportunities appear without fanfare. Movement resumes where stagnation once ruled. This is restitution in motion, not dramatic, not chaotic, precise. What was misallocated begins to return to circulation. What was withheld by confusion finds direction again. The field corrects itself when interference is removed. Stay with the imagery. See the structure dissolving, not collapsing. There is no destruction here, only release. Old frameworks fade as new space becomes available. You are not losing anything. You are reclaiming territory that was always yours, but temporarily inaccessible. This is how deep change feels. No rush, no explosion, just the quiet certainty that something irreversible has already begun. Now slow everything down, not to escape the moment, but to enter it completely. Allow your attention to settle as if it were gently lowering into a deeper layer of awareness. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to imagine forcefully. This is not effort, this is arrival. Breathe in through the nose, not deeply, naturally, and release the breath slowly through the mouth. Again. With each cycle, the surface noise recedes. Thoughts do not need to stop. They simply lose authority. They pass like distant sounds, while something steadier takes their place. Notice the sensation of gravity, the quiet certainty of being supported. Your body already knows how to enter this state. It does it every night, just before sleep, when defenses soften and the subconscious opens. The difference now is that you are present for it. Time begins to behave differently here. Urgency dissolves into clarity. Speed transforms into precision. This is not relaxation. This is coherence. In this state, the nervous system exits vigilance. The constant scanning for threat, lack, or delay turns off. When that scanning stops, energy previously locked in survival becomes available again. You may feel warmth, heaviness, stillness. All are signs of descent, not downward, but inward. Remain aware of your breath without controlling it. Let it find its own rhythm. Each exhale signals completion. Each inhale signals readiness. This is the point where intention no longer needs force. When the mind quiets, signals transmit cleanly. The field responds not to words, but to the state behind them. You are not preparing to command reality. You are becoming compatible with it. Feel the center of your chest, not emotionally, spatially, as if there is a calm, stable axis there that does not move regardless of circumstance. That axis is where authority resides. Stay with that sensation. From here, identity becomes fluid. Old labels loosen. The stories you told yourself about effort, struggle, and waiting lose their emotional charge. They are seen as patterns, not truths. Nothing is being removed. Nothing is being forced. Interference is simply dropping away. This is the optimal state for imprinting. Not because you are passive, but because you are clear. Clear signals travel faster. Clear states reorganize fields. Remain here a little longer. The body is calm, the mind is quiet, the position is stable. From this state, what follows does not feel dramatic, it feels inevitable. From this state of stillness, a deeper identity begins to surface. Not something you need to build, not something you need to imagine. Something that has always been there, waiting beneath the layers of adaptation and survival. Before roles, before expectations, before the need to prove or justify, there is a posture that exists prior to effort, the posture of the one who belongs. This is where the archetype awakens, not as fantasy, but as structure. The heir does not demand proof. The commander does not negotiate. The sovereign does not rush. Each moves from certainty, not from urgency. Feel how different this is in the body. There is no tension in claiming what is already yours. No anxiety in assuming position. The nervous system recognizes familiarity here, even if the mind tries to label it as new. This archetype does not speak loudly. It does not seek validation. Its presence alone reorganizes space. When this identity integrates, something subtle shifts in the way you relate to resources. Money stops feeling external. Opportunity stops feeling distant. Support stops feeling conditional. They are no longer objects to acquire, but extensions of a field you already occupy. This is why true power feels calm. There is no chase in it, no desperation, no comparison. The archetype of the survivor dissolves naturally here. Survival requires vigilance. Sovereignty requires stability. You cannot inhabit both at the same time. As one fades, the other takes its place effortlessly. Notice how your inner language changes. Not "will this work?" but "this aligns." Not "when will it arrive?" but "it is in motion." Not "am I allowed?" but "this belongs." This is integration. No affirmations are needed. No repetition is forced. The body adjusts first. The breath deepens. The spine straightens subtly. The sense of space around you expands. These are not metaphors. They are physical responses to identity alignment. When this archetype locks in, the field responds automatically. Reality does not test you. It mirrors you. The moment ownership is assumed internally, distribution begins externally. This is why wealth responds to being held, not chased. You are not becoming someone else. You are shedding the version of yourself that was built to endure limitation. Stay here long enough for this posture to stabilize. Let the heir stand without apology. Let the commander exist without force. Let the sovereign breathe without urgency. This is not imagination. This is remembrance. And once integrated, it does not leave. Do not search for results now. Do not measure this moment by visible change. Do not look outward for confirmation. That reflex belongs to an old orientation, one that depended on feedback to feel safe. From this position, safety is internal. Completion is assumed, not verified. What has been set in motion does not rush to reveal itself. It reorganizes silently, adjusting sequences, redistributing forces, aligning timing before form becomes visible. The most decisive shifts always happen beneath the surface first. This is where many interfere. They wait, they watch, they question, and in doing so, they reintroduce instability. You will not do that. From here forward, you live as if the movement is already complete, not through imagination, not through pretending, but through posture. The posture of someone who does not need proof to proceed. Completion has a specific feeling. It is quiet. It is neutral. It is steady. There is no anticipation in it, no impatience, no emotional spike. Completion feels ordinary because it no longer requires attention. It simply is. Allow that feeling to settle. Your role now is not to push reality. It is not to demand speed. It is not to manage outcomes. Your role is to remain coherent while the field finishes rearranging itself around the position you have already taken. You may notice subtle differences in the coming days, moments where effort would normally be required and is not, situations where resistance would usually appear and does not. Timing that aligns without explanation. Notice them briefly, then release them. Neutral acknowledgement stabilizes results faster than excitement. Excitement pulls attention forward. Neutrality holds position. Return to this field when it feels natural. Not because something is missing, but because repetition reinforces stability. Especially in the moments before sleep, when the mind loosens its grip and identity becomes fluid again. Listening from that state is not work. It is maintenance. It keeps the signal clean and uninterrupted. What follows this episode is not a reset. It is a deepening. The next phase does not introduce new effort. It consolidates what has already been activated. It strengthens the structure so that what has begun here does not dissipate under distraction or habit. Remain connected to coherence, not out of dependency, but out of alignment. You were not guided here randomly, and you are not leaving this unchanged. This position remains accessible. This field remains responsive. And when you return, it will not need to recognize you, because you are no longer approaching it. You are standing inside it.